Joining us now, Judy Shelton, a senior fellow at the Independent Institute and a former Federal Reserve Board nominee. She's also author of Money Meltdown, Restoring Order to the Global Currency System. And Judy, it's good to see you this morning. And some of the things that perhaps you wish had started earlier do seem to be on the table now in terms of starting some tapering and maybe eventual rate hikes coming in sooner than maybe previously had been indicated. Are some of those things positive for you with what you heard yesterday?
It's really mixed, Joe. I don't see anything new. The taper agenda is exactly what has been predicted. We knew it had to happen before the end of the year. So now on schedule, it looks like it will be announced in November and started in December. And if they whittle down that $120 billion per month in purchasing government-backed debt by, say, $15 billion each month, by about July, they will have finished it out. Meantime, they will have spent another $600 billion. The Fed's balance sheet will be up to $9 trillion. That's approaching 40% of GDP. And will any of that affect inflation? I really don't think so, because I think the money that the Fed has been spending to buy government-backed debt has just been to bail out the government. I mean, if it's monetary stimulus, was it meant to create jobs? Because that's not our problem. We have plenty of jobs that are going unanswered. And so the inflation that we're actually seeing now in the CPI, in the Consumer Price Index, has much more to do with limited supply and maximum demand because of fiscal stimulus. So I'm afraid that the Fed's tapering is going to seem like some kind of signal, but we could still end up with inflation, maybe lackluster growth, less than maximum employment, and then the Fed is down to using that big weapon of raising interest rates.
Just if you were Jay Powell, if you were on the Fed, and maybe, I don't know, who knows, someday perhaps you will be, Judy, but so you've got a dual mandate. And you got this horrible pandemic, and you saw, 9 million, 10 million jobs were gone, and you're trying to get them back, and you're still not back to where you were. So you've got the cover of bottlenecks to hang the inflation, the transitory inflation problems on. And if you are loyal to your other mandate of full employment and you see the Delta variant, a case could be made that you're doing the right thing by and if you did something, if you took stimulus back too quickly and, the economy did slow a lot more than you thought, you'd be blamed for tightening too quickly. I mean, I think they have cover if they want to try to logically explain what they were thinking, although, as you point out, they're not taking into account the fiscal situation where there are jobs, but you have people that aren't inclined to take the jobs. Should they have looked at that and taken that into account?
Well, the Fed's job is to be lender of last resort and provide liquidity in an emergency situation. They did that. They deployed the airbags. They threw the kitchen sink at saving the economy from liquidity problems. But where are we now? Where are we now? How is the Fed supporting the economy by financing overspending of Congress? What does that do to create jobs, which, as I say, is not the issue? How does that get people to take those jobs? Of all the political comments that the Fed chairman could make, that is, should he comment on the Fed's role in climate change or racial inequity? No, I don't think the Fed should be involved in any of those things. The one thing he could say to Congress is, if you want to have the least distortion to price signals, if you want the private sector and an economy devoted to entrepreneurial capitalism to work optimally, you can't have the government distorting these things. So you have to have a balanced budget. I mean, that is really the goal. We were close to that in 2000. It is doable. You at least have to have a plan to get to some kind of fiscal responsibility. You can't have sound money without sound financing.